So what we're going to do is we're going to start today. I'm going to be showing you guys how to make a live as in fresh raw sauerkraut with some cabbage, and also how to make a quick and easy macadamia cheese sauce. So I'm just going to see if Caitlin can see me on here. I'm live. Are you on? Yeah, check in with my friends here. She's my homegirl. She's got my back. It's good to have those people this time in life. Some people that got your back. And all right, I've been in the kitchen a lot because I'm like, well, may as well make stuff. I got extra time on my hands, and so we're gonna start with. If you got a blender, it's good. You can use macadamia nuts, but you can also use cashews. I know a lot more people probably have cashews in their pantry than have macadamia nuts. And you can also use, I think you could use hemp seeds for this, and also sunflower seeds. So really, or pumpkin seeds, like you could make a pumpkin seed cheese. I like macadamia nuts because I have them, and you know, we get them fresh from Hawaii. But yeah, whatever you can get your little hands on in the store, whatever's available. Walnuts would make a great cheese, so it doesn't really matter, just as long as you get something. 2 cups of some kind of nut or seed. You could, oh, hi Caitlin. You are here. Somebody's here. I'm teaching a class to Caitlin, who already knows how to make this. Anyway, any kind of nut or seed that you got on hand is a good one. And then I'm going to put the nuts in the blender, and that's all there is so far. There's nothing else in there. People are going to probably ask, do you need to soak them? Because I get my macadamia nuts fresh from Hawaii, Caitlin and I order them for the store, so they are available, I'm pretty sure, still on purejoyplanet.com. But they're so fresh that I don't ever soak them because they're just amazing. They're clean. But if you get them from the store, I would soak them for even just 30 minutes and get the dirt off and rinse them really well. And they also blend a little easier if you soak them first. Cashews, always soak. 20 minutes, maybe warm water, get them clean, like try and rinse them as well as you can. Those of you guys who know me know that I am not a cashew fan. I actually have an allergy to it. It makes my throat swell up and I lose my voice. And that's because of the mycotoxins in cashews. Cashews are highly toxic. No matter what anybody tells you, even if they're raw, they're still, like the workers that have to shell cashews have to actually like wear masks and gloves because cashews are so toxic. And that's why people that have peanut butter and cashew reactions are not necessarily reacting to the nut, they're reacting to the mold on the nut or the mycotoxins. So there you go. All right, so the next thing you want to do is add some water. So I'm going to do about 1.5 cups. Really what you want to do, rule of thumb, is if it's in your blender already, just go right to the top of the line of nuts with the water. So what I mean by that is like the water just goes right to that top. It doesn't go like way up here or anything. Okay, so that's so far about 1 cup, and I might add more. So I don't like to get it too thin. It really depends on what you want to use it for. I'm going to use this because it's just me. I'm going to use this as a cheese sauce, and I like to dip things like jicama and cucumbers into it. So I'll do that. And the next thing I want to add, I'm just going to look at my recipe. If those of you guys who saw me yesterday, you know that I love to do the paprika app. So that's, if you didn't see me yesterday, that's a little app that I use, paprikarecipes.com, and you can buy it for like $7, and it's the best purchase you'll ever make if you're a chef or you like to make your own recipes. Okay, so the next ingredient after the nuts and the water is a bell pepper or a carrot, and that's really mainly for color. I've got a yellow bell pepper here and a yellow carrot. I happen to have, I don't have an orange carrot. But so then I thought, well, combining yellow pepper and carrot would make kind of orange color. You could also put maybe turmeric and beet powder in if you want. But so I'm just going to do like a handful of cherry tomatoes, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cherry tomatoes. And then I'm just going to chop up this carrot, and I already peeled it because it was a little dirty looking. So I'll chop the carrot, and that looks like it's about 1/2 cup of carrot, like give or take. Handful of carrot. And then I want to save some of this bell pepper for dipping into the cheese. So I'm just going to use like 1 slice of the pepper. And what the pepper does in your cheese sauce is it gives it a sweet flavor, which is really nice. I just like the flavor that it gives it. So you can see from what's in there so far, that's going to give it some color. And it's not just going to be like a white macadamia cheese sauce. The next thing is onion powder. People who know me know this is one of my favorite ingredients. And by the way, if you have questions as we go, I can totally see the screen, so ask away. Caitlin just posted a link for our macadamia nuts. They're back in stock, so get our amazing Hawaiian mac nuts. Okay, so 2 tablespoons, and as you can see, I use onion powder so much that I have a huge jar. And also, if you don't know this about me, I'm a mason jar queen. You're going to see by the end of this demo how many jars that I use. You can go and get these at any places like Target or Ace Hardware, or most hardware stores carry mason jars. These are going to be something you're going to want to keep around. So that was 2 tablespoons of onion powder, and then about 2 to 3 tablespoons of lemon juice. What the lemon juice will do, and I just juice bags of lemon at a time and keep them in my fridge, and then they'll last for like 2 weeks. And I put that in my green juice. I put that in recipes and my salad dressing. So it says about 3 tablespoons of lemon juice. It says, which means I say because it's my recipe. And I always tell people this, like, you can't get it wrong. If you don't have something, use lime juice. Like, use apple cider vinegar, but don't use as much. Use like half the amount, like maybe a tablespoon. Just use what you've got on hand. Don't worry about that. The next thing is some salt. We've kind of stopped using Himalayan salt because we're finding out that there's a lot of fake salt out there. So my favorite is real salt. But right now I've just got, because this is on hand, I sometimes buy this because for the house, because there's a lot of people who are using salt. It's just some Trader Joe's sea salt. But really, whatever mineral salt you've got on hand, I'm going to put about a teaspoon of that in. Palm of your hand is a teaspoon, just so you know, like the inner circle. And then the next ingredient is some chickpea miso, or really any kind of miso, but this is the miso that I like to use, chickpea, because it doesn't have soy in it. And we're going to use about 2 tablespoons. And what miso does is gives things a cheesy flavor. So this is really key for your cheeses. It's kind of like, it's that fermented flavor that you're looking for that a cheese would have. So I always put miso in my cheese sauces. And then we're going to add the last ingredient is some nutritional yeast flakes. And if you don't have that, or you have an allergy, don't just skip it. But we like this brand, and we sell this on the website too. Caitlin, maybe you can put that link up. Premier Research Labs. This is the only one that doesn't make my eyeballs itch, because it's actually, can't see in there. But it's more like it's not a flake. It's a fine powder. But their quality at this company, PRL or Quantum Nutrition, they go by both names. I don't know why, but they do. This one says Premier Research Labs. Their quality is so high on everything they make, including their nutritional yeast, that I don't get that itchy eye reaction that I would get from like store-bought bulk. Try not to buy your lecithin or your yeast flakes in bulk. Really, actually, I have a client who can't eat anything. Like if I'm making a pie for her, she's like, I can't have anything that you bought in bulk. And I'm like, don't worry, I don't buy from bulk bins in stores. I buy it like prepackaged because of that, all the bacteria that's in those bulk bins. But so just so you know, like that bulk nutritional yeast is crap. Get the good stuff. We have this stuff too. All right. So there we go. We got a blender, and I'm ready to make some cheese sauce. Just start on low. Blend it up. Sometimes it gets a little air bubble, so you just gotta stop it and shake it a little bit. Start again. One more time. Boop, boop. If you're doing that rocking motion that I just did, notice I'm not doing this. That's gonna make a high-pitched squeal. You're gonna do this, where you keep it intact and just tap the air bubble out. It's really important to know. We teach this in the culinary school. All right, it's looking pretty good. I'm happy with the color. It's kind of a light orange. Just gonna stir it up and then start on low. Don't keep the lid off your blender unless you're a trained professional. Because it's going to go flying onto the ceiling. You always want to be on super low if you do this. There we go. I'm just trying to get it like as smooth and creamy as I possibly can. And then when it gets cold, it will get thicker. So this is another mason jar. These are the 24-ounce ones or 3-cup size jars. I love these because they're wide mouth. They're easy to use. They're not quite 4 cups, which we don't always have 4 cups of something. And then I'm going to just keep this in my fridge and it'll last for up to 2 weeks. Look at that. It fits perfectly in there. And whatever's left, I can use to eat a snack. And what I wanted to show you guys, and I do have a little bit left in there, so it's probably going to make a little over 3 cups, just so you know, for your cheese. If you have a food dehydrator and you want to spread this out like on the tray with the Teflon sheet and make a dried cheese, you could do that as well and then crumble it over your salad. But this I'll just label, and you can label with a permanent marker right on the jar because it comes off with a scrubby really easily with one of those green scrubbies. But I'll just write cheesy sauce because it's not real cheese. Cheesy sauce, and I'll write the date, 3/18, and then I'll have it in the fridge for, I know, for 2 weeks if I don't eat it before that. And then I wanted to show you kind of like what I do with, this is how I store my cucumbers. I always peel them in stripes because I don't like the skin. Like when I bite into it, sometimes I think I have gaps in my teeth and it just really bugs my teeth. So I always do stripes so I still get some of the nutrition from the skin. If your skin, even with cucumbers, has wax, you want to peel the whole thing. Get that, just take it all off. So that's great because I can dip my cucumber into the cheese sauce. And then this is another thing I do. I buy the big, fat, huge jicamas. And if you don't know what jicama is, it's spelled with a J and it comes from Mexico. And it's kind of like an apple in texture. These are like really wedged in here. It's like an apple in texture, but it's not sweet. And it's got what's called prebiotics, which are super good for our gut. They feed the good microbes in our gut. And so I love dipping, I'm just going to use this little cup thing here. Love dipping something like jicama into my cheese sauce. And that's the perfect gluten-free, yummy, easy snack that you can have anytime you're hungry. Whenever I'm just like, I don't know what to eat, a lot of times I end up eating this. Or if I'm just so hungry that I don't want to wait to cook something, while I'm cooking, I'm like snacking on this. So there you go. You got your jicama with your little cheese sauce, and it's super yummy. Super good. All right, so that's that. If you guys come on late, well, if you come on late, I guess you won't know what I just did, but later you can just comment. If you're watching this tomorrow or whatever, just comment if you have questions on what I just did. So that's cheese sauce. You can just, the reason I'm doing this class is because I'm home making food and I'm like, well, I may as well share what I'm doing. This is a staple for me. Cheese sauce is something I do all the time. I pretty much always have cheese sauce in my fridge because it's just my go-to as a salad dressing. Sometimes I just stir it over greens. Sometimes I'll cook veggies and put that on the top as my sauce. And I love it because it's raw, it's fresh, it's easy. Macadamia nuts are super great. They've got lots of omega-3s in them, and they're just a super good food. And then now the next recipe I'm going to do with you guys today is sauerkraut. So I'm going to do 2 kinds. I'm going to do a red kraut and I'm going to do a green kraut. But I'm going to start with the red one. This is half of a, well, actually this is like one pretty good sized red cabbage. And I kept some of the cabbage so I can show you guys how I do it. But I wanted to show you the mandala. Like nature is so beautiful. Isn't that, I could just stare at that forever. It's just like, woo, woo. It's like this super cool, like, wow, you rock, nature. I just want to cry. I love it. So mandolin, this is the kind that I use. This is by Progressive, and it's called the Julienne Slicer because there's words Julienne and slice. And I use this for pretty much everything. You could also use a Ben Reiner, which is what they use like in all the Asian restaurants when you go to get sushi. And it has like a little adjustment thing on the bottom where you adjust the thickness of the blade. You want it to be really thin. And what's great about this is it catches all the cabbage right in the bottom. So you can just use it and it's pretty safe. But I'm going to use this one today because this is just the one I always use. And I'm pretty sure you guys can see my screen. I know it because I can see it, so you can see it. Move this bowl off for a minute. And then you want to put it on the thinnest setting. So this has a lock, and you want to put it on number 1. And then just look over here and make sure that it's on the slice versus the julienne, which we'll do the julienne in a minute for the broccoli, but I'm going to do it on slice. So it's number 1 slice. And then you don't need to use the guard at first because you've got so much space. But if you don't feel safe doing it the way I'm doing it, then for sure use your guard. And I'll just show you use of the guard just so I'm showing you the safest way to do it. The reason I don't always do it though is because you can see the cabbage doesn't always fit completely onto the thing. So sometimes it's just a little tricky to get it to cut. But this one's actually doing a pretty good job. So see, it gets kind of stops. So I just kind of like I'll turn it and go at a different angle and just keep kind of twisting it around till I get it done. And I'm really being aware and making sure my hand is way far away from the blade. You don't want to be distracted or mad or any kind of negative emotion when you're in the kitchen, especially when you're using a sharp object. You just want to be super present. Like you'll notice I'm not looking at you guys. I'm just paying attention to what I'm doing. All right, so I'm just going to tap that stuff out and then throw all of this beautiful pile of cabbage into the bowl, which I have right in front of me, and I'll show you now. And then you can chop those little extra bits and bobs and throw those in as well. But the recipe for cabbage, I'm just going to show you what I'm doing. I'm going into my paprika app. I have like 500 recipes in here, so I'm just going to search for kraut, K-R-A, I'm going to spell it right, K-R-A-U-T, live sauerkraut. Okay, so that's 1 head of cabbage. So let's say that's 1.5. So I'm going to scale it to 1.5, 1.5 on my little, if you can see that there, I'm scaling it. And then I hit close, and then it multiplies everything. So now I have, it says 1.5 heads of cabbage, 3/4 to 1.5 teaspoons of salt. And since I'm a salt fiend, I'm going to go with the 1.5. So that was about 1. That's about 1/2. And a little more for good measure. What the heck? All right, and then the other thing you can do, which is optional, is lemon juice. So really like a couple tablespoons is plenty. I think my original recipe called for 1/4 cup, but you really don't need that much. But what's really fun is you're going to see as I start to do this that I'm going to use my hands too. My hands have just been washed. They're really clean. My phone was clean, so it's all good. But what I like about using my hands is you're actually putting your own energy into your food. And also the thing about making your own sauerkraut locally is that you, the bacteria that's in Bend, Oregon, in my particular neighborhood, in my particular house, is going to get cultured into the sauerkraut. And that's like how your brain gets the information about where you live. And the bacteria is good. Like when I say bacteria, I'm not talking about a virus. I'm talking about airborne bacteria that's healthy for us to breathe, and it gives us information about where we live and who we are and what we're doing. So that's all good. So that's why I like doing my own sauerkraut versus buying something that was made in California or made somewhere else. Like I want it, if I don't do it myself, I'll try and buy it local because I want it to be from here. So now what I'm doing is I'm just squeezing this, and the lemon and the salt are going to start to kind of break it down. So I'm just going to kind of keep squeezing it until it starts to become a liquid. But because I don't want to work that hard, I'm going to let the salt and the lemon do the work for me. So I'm just going to set this aside and show you guys the green one that I started earlier. So clear my cutting board off and rinse my hands. So the green one I did, I don't know, about an hour ago. And you can see it, I squeezed it a little bit. The juices are coming out, which is what you want. And all this is a little lemon and salt in here. That's all I've done so far. And that's what you want. You want all the liquid to start really releasing from the cabbage. And then at this point, it's ready to turn into sauerkraut. Cabbage and broccoli and any cruciferous vegetable, including cauliflower, they all have the ability to grow their own probiotics. You don't need to add any probiotics in. You can buy a culture if you want, or use some sauerkraut you already have on hand and throw that in. And what that'll do is make it ferment even faster. And I may do that today. Like if I don't know where it is, but I might have some sauerkraut that I made before, and I can like quicken the process, but you don't have to do that. This is going to culture on its own. The next thing I'm going to do is add some different extras. And I'm going to use my hands again. The extras I have are caraway seeds. So caraway is really great. I learned this from a German woman in the grocery store years ago, that caraway is really great in cabbage because it helps you digest it. So 1 to 2 tablespoons of caraway seeds, and I'm pretty much, jar's empty, so I'm going to do it. And then this is where you can get creative and just use what you've got on hand. So I've got a daikon radish, and I peeled it already. So it's just a big, this is, if you're wondering in the store what the heck this is, that's a radish. Radishes are so amazing. I'm going to clean this off because I don't want to get any red into the green kraut. So I want only green cabbage in the, because red just tends to turn everything red. So now I'm going to go to the slice blade. So I'm going to switch it. Or actually, Julie, no, I'm going to keep it on the slice blade. But I'm going to go to like the number 2 instead of the number 1. And then I'm just going to do circles. And it doesn't even matter if they stay whole. I'm just going to put them all into this kraut. And this I've never done before. Like I've never done, I'm going to use my guard so I can show you guys how it works. This is a perfect time because I do care about my fingers. I like my fingers the way they are. But these are so pretty. Look at this. This is another like really cool mandala. Like if you can see the light coming through that. Super cool in the way that that looks. Oops, there's some cabbage on that one. But anyway, so those are all going in. And now I got a bowl with some daikon and some cabbage. And then, you know, since we're on a radish kick, I'll do a little red radish in there as well. I eat these almost every day in my salad. They're really high in sulfur. And my body just craves radishes. I don't do the daikon as much. I tend to like this red one for my salads, maybe because of the color. But that's all going in. And I'm even going to throw that end in. What the heck. So that's in. And then I think that's going to be it. I can do this one spicy. I've got 2 krauts. I'm going to do this green one as my, this I bought to make kimchi with. And it's Korean chili flakes. And they're awesome. So like a tablespoon or 2. I want it really spicy. When you culture it, it will start to turn the spice from being spicy to being sweet. So you could even throw beets into this and it'll actually eat the sugar of the beets. I don't think I'm going to get my hand in these gloves. I just didn't want to get spice up underneath my fingernails, as you can imagine. That would not feel good. All right. Any questions so far? Nope. Everybody's sleeping. You guys taking naps? That's okay. All right, so glove on. And we're going to just massage this baby. I really do hate this part. You can't get your hand in the glove. It's the worst. All right. Almost there. Bear with me. These are medium. I should have bought small, but now I'm kind of glad I bought medium because it's easier to get my hand in. Anyway, there. And I'm just going to massage this kimchi powder in, Korean chili powder in with the daikon. And just kind of make sure you're just getting it all evenly dispersed. Don't worry about like squeezing it anymore. Once you've gotten it juicy like that, really now you're just kind of working the ingredients into the cabbage so that it's even. And then I'm going to take one of these glass jars, this one. And you know what's amazing is this is an entire green cabbage. Like it's going to all fit in one jar. And then I'm just going to start putting all the stuff into the jar. That's it. Push it in. And oops, there's a bunch of radishes kind of all together. So I'm going to layer them a little bit. Just keep pushing it. So you're going to use your hand and just push it down. Now, if you're thinking, oh, I wish I had something that I could eat today, you can. You can eat this now and just call it a pressed salad. And if you pickle it, which I'm going to do, then you call it sauerkraut. So it just depends all on your timing. And so the Japanese actually do have something called a pressed salad, and that's all it is it's just cabbage that's been massaged down, and then you eat it. So there you go. You see all that juice on the top? Look how pretty it looks too. Now I'm going to seal this in, and then I'm going to rinse it. But before I rinse it, you can kind of just see all the colors. It's gonna look gorgeous. Once it starts to really culture, the pink of it will probably turn pinker and the green will kind of disappear and it'll just be all one color. Now I'm gonna have kraut in about a week. So a week to 10 days, depending on where you're at and the heat in your house. I try and keep it somewhere warm. So I'll keep it like in the kitchen where we tend to have, it tends to just get a little warmer. And then that'll be ready in about 7 to 10 days. So there's that one. And then I'm just gonna quickly show you the other one. I think I'm gonna get rid of this cutting board since it's covered in sauce. Now the purple, it's probably a lot more juicy now that I let it sit for a minute. It still has some work, so I'm just gonna show you how you do it. You act like you're massaging someone's shoulders, and you're giving them a really good shoulder rub. Like, don't just do like that. You know, you really want to squeeze it and get your hands in there and really give it a good massage. So let's see if I can get, yeah, the juice is starting to leak out, which is great. That's exactly what I want. And then I'm going to put in, I took some Brussels sprouts and chopped them into quarters. I'm going to put that in. And then I'm also, since I wanted to call this broccoli kraut, I'm going to put in, I took a broccoli stem, which I will show you now. Let's just get this cutting board back. I love having like these big cutting boards. It makes my life so much easier to have. I bought, I don't know where I bought this, but I use it for everything. So broccoli stem, you know, save these. You don't have to throw them out. And you want to like cut the rough parts off. And then I'm actually going to just trim it. Can you guys see what I'm doing? No, you can. With my knife and get any of the super fibrous parts off. Because even with kraut, like that's not going to fully break down. It's still going to be a little bit fibrous if you don't get those outer edges off. And then all I'll do is use I could do discs or I could do shreds. I already did some shreds, so I'm going to put those in because I did 2 stems. And then with this one, I guess I could julienne because I want to show you guys how the Julienne blade works. Put it on the julienne, put it on like a number 2, and then just use your guard and slide it around. You're always going to get this piece that doesn't shred down, but you can do that by hand. But there you go. You got like your little julienne, cabbage slices. Okay, so we got cabbage, we got Brussels sprouts. That's kind of all I have on hand. I mean, I don't want to put kimchi into both of them. And I already put caraway in that one, and I used it all up. So I guess this is just going to be like your basic lemon and salt and cruciferous vegetables. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this. I'm just going to kind of mix those things in and then put it in a jar and let it ferment. So that's kind of it. I'll just do one just so I can show you guys. But the sky's the limit. Like, you can put whatever you want in here. I wouldn't put things like zucchini or anything super soft, but I've known people to put beets in or put shredded apple in, which you can't even taste the apple when it's cultured. It kind of just eats it. But you can put dill in here too if you want. And then you just push it down and let that juice. It's not quite juicy enough. Oh yeah, here comes the juice. So you got to really make sure that that juice is kind of coming up to the top. And I'm going to show you that close up. So as I push it, I don't know if you can see that, like the juice right there comes to the top, and that's what you want. And then I don't want to, like this one's a little too full. I might take some out. I don't want to fill it all the way full because anybody that's ever cultured anything knows that when it gets past, like if it starts to ferment, it starts to expand and then it's going to bubble up and maybe pop your lid. So you want to leave a little room for growth. So there's just basic, and I might season this up with something. I don't know. I'm going to look in my cupboards. I'll probably definitely put some dill in there. But that's how you make sauerkraut. So I hope you guys had fun watching this. And if, like I said, if you're watching it later, not live, because I know it's hard to get on the Facebook, if you're working, just ask questions, comment, and then I'll come back and answer them. And Caitlin, I know Caitlin talked about maybe yeah, actually, you're going to go on Instagram. She's going to be doing some stuff on Instagram, I think, this week. So we'll share that here on Facebook as well afterwards. But our goal, like our contribution from Pure Joy Planet, is to give you guys free cooking classes. I know a lot of people are giving free yoga classes and doing a lot of free stuff online. Like I watched this guy in Bend do a concert the other night. So we're just going to try and keep showing up when we're making things and just showing you guys what we're doing. I hope that was helpful. I hope you had fun. And I'll be back at some point, maybe on Friday or Saturday, and do something else. So let me know what you're interested in learning. I'm going to keep my ingredients limited to kind of what I have, because I have plenty of food and I'm not hoarding. I'm not going out and overbuying. I'm just trusting that all is well and that there's going to be enough for everyone. And so this is great, because if you had cabbage sitting around, you didn't know what to do with it, make some sauerkraut. And if you get hungry, you can eat it before it's cultured. But if you want to wait about 10 days, a week to 10 days is ideal. And then it'll be nice and sour. And what I didn't say about sauerkraut is that it's super good for your gut. It actually helps produce better gut flora. It's like a probiotic. It's amazing. And you don't want to overdo it though, because if you eat too much, you could get bloated and gassy, especially if you're new to it. So just start with a tablespoon and then work your way up from there. And I do like anywhere from 2 tablespoons to a quarter cup in a meal, and I'll just put that like right on top of my salad. Or if you're making one of our great flatbreads, we do the gluten-free, grain-free flatbread. You could do that with avocado. Another thing is just to mash up avocado and mix it with your sauerkraut and spread that on whatever you want. And it's amazing. It's so delicious. I just want to say to you guys that I'm really glad that you're watching this right now, and I'm here for you, and we're all going to get through this together by being loving and kind. And I just want to say as a parting thing to visualize your perfect world. Like, what would be your perfect outcome? You know, it's easy to go into this fear-based, like, oh, it's going to end of the world as we know it. But guess what the last line of that song is? It's the end of the world as we know it, and I feel fine. So feel fine. Visualize your perfect life and imagine all your angels and guides and everything that this universe is on your side. It's got your back, and do your best just to keep showing up for other people, shining the light, be the light beacon of light. Don't be the beacon of darkness, and we'll all get through this together. So, I love you guys, and I'll see you very soon.